Suppose that for each foot of land along the street, the annual tax is $25 per foot. The diagram below shows a plot of land. About how much is the annual tax for the plot? Well, this is one of those problems that requires a little bit of critical thinking, and let's just think about what it's really asking. How much is annual tax? Well, it's a money question, but they gave you enough information to figure it out, and it's per foot. So in your head, I hope you're looking at me, or looking at the video thinking, not looking at me, looking at the video thinking, well, that's pretty obvious. We need to know how many feet this is. So the real question is, how long is that? How long is this street? So I'm going to write that down. How long is, let's not call it the street, let's call it, oh, triangle, huh? Let's call it, what do you want to call it? I hope you said little b. Big letters are corners, they're vertices. They're across from little letters, which are sides. It's little c, and little b is the street. What street do you live on? B Street, spelled with a lowercase. Okay, how much is the annual tax for the plot? So what we need to do is figure out the length, and then we'll just multiply it by 25. Okay. So, oh, it says about how much. So it's going to be rounded off a little bit. Because if you notice, none of these are divisible by 25. I just happened to notice that. They don't divide by 25, so we're going to get a decimal. More than likely, we are going to get a decimal, but that's okay. We'll deal with it. So now the question is, how do we find b? Now, this is going to involve one of three things. And let's go ahead and rule out the first one. Right triangle trig. This is not a right triangle, because that is an 80-degree angle, and it is not 90. I'm quite sure that neither one of these is 90. So therefore, we cannot use right triangle trig, so that's out. So now we're left with two other options, and one of them is the law of sines, and then the other one is the law of cosines. And I am almost 100% positive they will give you these formulas. And I hope you know when to use which one. Law of sines is going to be used, and it's implied in the formula, when you know something and the side that's across from it. Like you know big A and little a, and then you know big B, but you're looking for little b. So you have to know a pair of corresponding letters to figure out what the other one is. So that would happen in this case. So big A and little a. Oh, we don't know big A. Big B and little b. No, don't know little b. Don't know little b. Big C. Don't know big C. And we don't have enough information to figure out something. Sometimes you can. Sometimes you can do the law of sines if you just have a push in the right direction, and you can just do some really easy algebra to figure it out. But in this case, we can't. So we're going to have to go with the law of cosines, and we will pick the law of cosines that deals with b, that starts with a little b. You can rearrange the letters any old which way you want to. Into AC, cosine b. Can I make a confession to you? When I worked through your practice exam back at the beginning of the semester, I did this problem wrong, and you know why? Because I had a sign error. Pardon the pun, it's not a sign error, it was actually a cosine error. But I had a sign error, and I don't remember what I changed, but I want you to be really careful with your signs. Because I was feeling all confident and went through it, and I checked to make sure I got all of them wrong, and I missed this one because I had an incorrect sign in my formula. I was trying to go by memory, and if you want to, that's cool. However, be careful. If you're going to go by memory, please double check it with a formula sheet, first of all. Second of all, if you are going to use a formula sheet, make sure that you're writing it correctly as you go from the formula sheet to your paper, because then you'll mess up if you're not careful. Just a little warning there. Okay, this is going to get pretty easy really quick. So there's A, there's C, minus 2 times A times C. Some of y'all might have grabbed your calculator and jumped straight there. Now, there's generally two types of problems that deal with law of cosines. There's ones where you have to solve for the angle, and there's ones where you have to solve for the side, and we're going to do this one, and I'm about to do it wrong, and I'm going to do it wrong on purpose. Follow me. No, what I'm about to type is right. I hope you realize what's about to happen, though. I hope you know where I'm going with this. Okay, so we got that. That's how long it is, and we need to take the square root of that and multiply that by 25, and the answer is 1411, right? Wrong. The answer is not 1411. Please, please, please be careful with this problem. I want you to notice something here, and it'll mess you up if you're not careful. The people who wrote this problem were evil enough to put that answer in there when that is not the answer. That is in degrees. Go to mode. Make sure you're in degrees. They never said make sure your calculator's in degrees, but it should become obvious within a problem. I've said this before. It is always in radians unless they say it's in degrees or you see degrees, and that one little symbol right there changes everything. Please be careful. Oh, word, that's worth writing in big letters. Degrees. Go to college and get more than one of them. Get degrees. So that is not correct. So we're going to back out of that. Let's go back. Second enter, second enter, second enter. Pulls up that. That's going to be a little better. Square root of that last answer. And that is what little b is. And that's fantastic. It's $49.52. Round it wherever you want. Multiply it by $25. There we go. 1,238 rounded off. The answer is A. It is not D. It is not B or C either.